Caroline, did you see your signs are up?
Yes, I'm going to talk about that. We drove around and looked on. Fabulous job, especially the one at Hammond. I really love what you did with that. Not metal poles.
Yeah.
That looks a lot better.
Yeah, no, they did a great job.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to get a couple of pictures. Yeah, no, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Oh, we're live? Okay. Are we ready? Should we wait right till the 55 or just go? Okay, I'm going to call the Parks, Recreation and Culture Committee meeting of Tuesday, February 16th, 2021 at 6:55 p.m. It's held electronically and transmitted via council chambers located at 39 South Shore Road, as per the Ministerial Order M192. This meeting is being held virtually on the territory of the Subots First Nation. I'd like to remind staff and council that we are live streaming. Do I have to say this after Lorna's already said it? Do you think it's too much, or is that, should I? Yes, Bob? Whatever, you're on.
It was just suggested, whatever you're comfortable with, and we'll make it perfect. I don't know if we need to remind staff again. No, I don't think so.
I was just going to remind about mute and unmute, that one.
Yeah.
And
the question period and public participation. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. Public participation, we have two places on our agenda where you can make comments. Number 6, verbal comment on a subsequent item on the agenda. And item 11 down at the bottom, again, where is it here? Question period on anything that is on the agenda. You can email questions to general@lakecowichan.ca. And you can also email them prior. The agendas come out on Friday, so you have a time there to look over the reports and what's on the agenda, and then you can email them in advance. So we'll stop both times for 3 minutes to see if there are any questions coming through. So introduction of any late items? I don't see any. So I need an approval of agenda, please. Councillor Vomaka, Councillor Sandu, all in favor? Business arising and unfinished business. A is none. The ongoing items still being addressed is the trail signage, and those were the 3 signs on the Trans-Canada Trail. And I think I hear siren again. The Public Works Department put in a beautiful sign. If people want to walk along and see it, it's on Hammond Road, where this trail ends at one point. And then there's one on Boundary and one on Joel. The other 2 were ones that were previously there that rotted out. And it's just for the people coming into town, knowing where to go, how to get anywhere, and what we have in this community. It's got a map of the community and the business area. So thank you to Jazz and the staff for that. Good job. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay, thank you. We are getting quite a few bikers and walkers around still, even during this nasty weather. Park signage, I think we're just going to keep this on. We talked about maybe getting a sign at Saywell, or not Saywell, Stone Park and Satlam Park, just so that people eventually, Zach will be involved with that. Is that correct?
Zach is involved with the Ted Burns thing. He's still working on that.
Okay, the Ted Burns one. And we also, we're going to renew one at the bird sanctuary. I don't know if anybody's, are we doing that at some point? Mr.
At some point we should be looking at all signs.
Yeah, because Mr. Creelman set aside that property as a bird sanctuary. It's just off the trail. And somebody took the sign quite some time ago. Okay, any questions on park signage? We'll keep, oh, Bob, I'm sorry, Mayor Day.
Thank you. Just a comment about park signage, but I'm going to change it slightly and call it washroom signage. Just to drop a seed for us to think about, do we have the right signage in the right place when it comes to the upcoming tourism season? With what, there are a few signs in the water, just wondering if they've been moved or need to be replaced in their right location where tubers can see them this summer. But just thought I'd pass that thought on for consideration as we get closer to the summer and the tubing season. Thank you.
Good idea. Good idea. Thank you. The next delegation and representations, none. Correspondence, we received a letter from Elaine and Wayne Winter regarding a walking path through the slopes. I don't think you want me to read the whole letter, but I think this is something we should refer to urban systems. I don't know if we have property that we can put aside for a walkway. They may need to contact the Brookside group or whatever. What's your pleasure on that one, folks? Councillor Sandhu?
Well, I was just thinking maybe let our staff take a look at it, and then they make contact with urban
Yeah.
systems or whatnot, and then report back to us at the next Public Works or Parks meeting.
Okay, sounds good. Anybody else? Councillor McGonigal?
I think the Ministry of Transportation would possibly be involved with this as well, as it crosses their jurisdiction. So there would be a multifaceted conversation, I'm sure. Great idea on connectivity between the two communities, but ensuring that it's done safely would take more than just our input.
Right. Mr. Fernandez?
Yeah, if I may add, the Gross Lake, the townhouses property is private property, so there is no access through there. So we may have to be looking at an alternate solution. I don't think people would want you walking through a strata council property.
Oh, yeah,
So, but we'll keep that in mind. That the other issue is, I think Council McGonigal raised it. It's the crosswalk across the highway, and that could pose a problem too, in terms of the liability issues and who's going to be responsible for that.
right. That's a major highway. We drove it today just to have a look and see. And I think it could be quite deadly if you weren't careful. Councillor McGonigal, did you have something to add?
I just want to thank the Winters for bringing this topic forward on how to connect communities that are partitioned by a highway or other roadway. It certainly is something that we're interested in our age-friendly plan and our OCP and every other document that guides us through the decisions we make. So I want to thank them for bringing this idea forward, but it's not a simple solution is all I wanted to reiterate.
Right.
That there's more than just us as a jurisdiction to make this decision. But thank you very much for bringing it forward.
Right. Thank you. Anything else on that? We're now going to have the verbal comment on items that subsequent items on the agenda. We'll break for 3 minutes. That'll make it. Oh, yes, Joe.
Yeah, I'll read the one item that came in earlier today. It's
Oh.
on a subsequent item, and it says, "Hi, Joe, was wondering if I could talk to you about the Canada Healthy Communities Grant application. I was going to suggest the Kinsman apply for the duck pond upgrades, but do not want to interfere with the town's application." Something to think of when you get to that topic further down.
That's further down. Okay. Other than that, should we still break for
And
3
then
minutes?
I'll go check, yes.
Okay, I'll put my music on. Let's go. Come on, Jeopardy. I probably won't do this every time. One more minute.
I'm glad Double Jeopardy wasn't 3 minutes long.
Yeah. There's sure some smart people on there. But you know, it's funny, you have to watch TV too. It's not just all in, opera and things like that. They have questions on all sorts of things. Are we ready to come back? Where's Joe gone? Is he coming? Mm-hmm.
Everybody just about ready to go?
I'm just waiting for Joe. We've lost him. He hasn't come back yet.
He said he's on his way.
Okay. There he is. Do we have any questions?
Nothing, Madam Chair,
Thank you.
other than the one I read earlier.
Okay, we'll go through that at the end there. We're down to reports now. Superintendent Public Works Engineering Services report for January 2021. Mr. Where'd he go? Sandu.
Right here, so for parks, we're working on a more detailed park maintenance plan. We want to change a few things and work on some parks that haven't had a lot of attention in the last few years. Washrooms, we've been keeping them open as much as we can. Unfortunately, we are encountering some vandalism every once in a while in them that we got to clean up or repair. And we were finding still there was campers and stuff in the area, so we have decided and have opened the sandy dump, and it appears to be being used, and I think it's well worth keeping it open through the winter months. And we have received a couple of quotes on the Stone Park for the fencing, and I'm hoping I can award that contract later this week or early next week.
Thank you. Any questions from anyone on this report? That's a good report. Okay. We'll move on to Cowichan Lake Education Center, Dalton and Lakeview.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Go ahead, Dalton. You're on.
You want a verbal? Okay.
Oh.
Basically, you have a written report, and as far as the center is concerned, we're moving forward with the international student program with the school district and adhering to, very strict protocols for their when they quarantine at the center, and that's been working well. And basically, that's the the amount of business that we want to do is only with them because we are very strict on the protocols, and it's going well. And the school district is relying on us as well, and it's just a good system. And they're probably going to book right until next September. And as I've noted, they'll be either in March, April, July, and September. And hopefully by that time, COVID will be over. However, we've made a good ally, and I think that perhaps we'll be having more and more business from the school district that way. And just of note, we're not taking any more bookings. A lot of people are asking about, the rest of the year and September, October, and weddings and different bookings. But basically, we're just saying until people have been vaccinated and it's under control, we can't promise anything. But as soon as it opens up, there's a pent-up feeling that people want to do stuff, and I think that we'll have some strong bookings at the center by that time. So we're just using the time for planning and making arrangements, and as I've said before in the last meeting, looking at grant applications that could perhaps improve our facilities, both for the campground and the center.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions from the council? Councilor Vomaka?
I just wanted to ask you, how many people come in at one time for the students?
The last time we had 26 students and 6 adults. And just so you know, the students stay there. They never leave. The gates are locked. The gate's locked. And the teachers that come with them, they don't go home. Once they're at the center, they stay at the center. And our staff comes and go, of course, on a regular basis, but they are, strict protocol so that there's never any proximity to students at all. When people are in the dining room, for example, they can point at the food that they'd like to have, and they go through a line and it's served, and they pick it up on another table. And it's a really good system, actually, and it's been working beautifully.
Good.
Thank you.
So I was just wondering if they come in one group or whether they're staggered throughout the month.
No, they come for a complete 14 days. They're staggered by a couple days sometimes. That's been the experience so far. But what happens is they fly into, just so you know, I might as well give you some details because it's interesting. They fly in from different countries and they've been quarantined at their home country for 14 days. Then they take a COVID test within 72 hours of getting on the plane. They fly into Canada, fly into the international airport, fly into Nanaimo, and they are picked up by drivers, in big vans, because they don't all come in at once. And within a couple of days, they're transported to the center, and they have to be at the center within 3 hours of getting off the airplane. So it's not as if they're going to go shopping or stop at the mall or anything. They come directly to the education center. And they're doing the same thing in Victoria, but they go to hotels and they're pretty well locked in their hotel rooms. At the center, we have, 40 acres of an area that they can at least walk out, and enjoy a bit of Canada, and in a very, very safe setting.
Thank you. That's great information.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Dalton. That's a good,
Okay.
concise report. Thank you.
If I,
Did you have more? Oh,
I'll field the question first if you want.
Mayor Day?
Well, I know you might want to go on to the fire smart work, but just a question, are we still on target to open campground reservations for March 1st? Is that still a go, or is that the correct date?
Well, there's two things. First of all, that's a good question. As far as when the campsite will open, I think that, as we see how the province is doing, we can be flexible. Like, for example, to answer your question in a long-winded way, last year, it was within a couple of weeks, we just made a management decision and said, you know what, we're going to move on this now, and we'll make sure we open up. And we opened the reservations up quickly, and people just jumped in right away. So the exact date that we're going to open up reservations hasn't really been set, but we can set it quickly. And believe me, people ask, and I've had phone calls, and I'm sure there's been phone calls here at this office as well. When are we going to open up? But I think, we just have to wait for health. And some of you have probably already think that we should open it up right away. But we also have to consider staffing and making sure that we have all the proper protocols in place. We know we can do it because we had a great season last year. So when it's safe, we'll open. And if it happens to be earlier, we'll make sure that it opens.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Councillor Vomaka, did you have, oh, sorry, who's next? Councillor McGonigal?
Ladies first, please.
Okay, Councillor Vomaka?
Thank you. I was going to ask Dalton, so have you already put in applications for your summer students?
Yes, we have. Perfect.
Thank you.
And Public Works has as well.
Yeah. And Councillor McGonigal?
Thank you. Mr. Smith, I can see your spell check didn't work.
Oh.
Yes, I just wanted to see if you guys were on your toes.
I'm on my toes, but
Or I was stuttering, da.
I'm sitting. I think it's the he, but little levity there. On the, I'm going to talk about the fire safe program and the grant. And not only the firewood proponent that we have discussed earlier that would be utilized in both facilities, just the safety portion within that of negating interface between that forest land and our infrastructure that is there. I think it's important to protect that. And this was an opportunity to move forward with a grant application. The fire department was successful in that application. And that will not only allow you to utilize that product, but also to negate perhaps some interface problems that we know we are surrounded by. So looking forward to having a look at the final product and moving forward.
Thank you. Anyone else? Did you have something else, Dalton?
Well, just on that note, when the weather gets nice and everything and the contract is finished, I think it would be a nice walk for everybody to go out and just take a little sort of walk around the park and walk around the center to see what's been done. And truly, you can see that it would make it a lot safer in the event of a forest fire. It's really well done.
You got to
Good.
be aware of social distancing though.
We can
Yeah,
social distance,
Lots of land.
lots of room. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dalton. Thank you for that report.
You're welcome. Have a good night, everybody. I'll pass the seat over to Jazz again.
You've warmed it up for him. Okay.
So just a point of order, Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes,
Given the public input on the next item, could we possibly go to new business first and have that prior to C, prior to report C,
we
As
can do.
as
Does,
it pertains to that? I believe that may be procedurally fine, but we can check with the CAO.
would that be all right?
Yeah, should I check on any other comments from the?
Haven't done that yet. No, we're just talking about
okay.
number C or letter C.
Okay,
We go
sorry.
to 8A first.
Yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense. That makes
Okay, we'll
sense.
go to 8A first, Canada Healthy Communities Initiative. Who would like to speak on that?
Oop.
Yes, Mayor Day,
You're going to call
Whoever
me
you
just
are.
about every name in the book, aren't you?
sorry.
So I asked for this to be added to the agenda when it popped up the other day, just to more or less to put it out to staff and see if they thought it might work for any of the projects that they have planned for the upcoming year and stuff like that. So it's there, and there is a web page for it. And if anybody wants to read it, I'm sure, if you have any thoughts, by all means share them. But just to put it into staff's ear and yours, if you think there's anything that it might be pertinent to is what we're doing. So
Okay,
everybody's aware that it's out there. It's $31 million, and and
That's
we
a
have
lot.
we have a lot of outstanding grants out there at this moment, so it could be seen as double dipping on our part, but it's there.
and I think Mr. Fernandez had a question on that.
No, I think it was a response from one of our residents as to whether we should allow the kinsman to make an application under this grant.
And what's your pleasure on that? Councilor Vomaka?
When I read this, that's the first thing I had thought about too, was the kinsman. Because when I'm looking at this application and it's talking about safe and vibrant public spaces and improved mobility options. And that's what they're trying to do there with mobility for everybody, for children. And with the COVID, we don't know how long this is going to last. And so I think it's really important, especially with young children, to have them out, to have them exercising, to be playing. And I think that fits in well. And I'm wondering whether we may be also able to put together a grant, maybe with Centennial Field or one of our parks here, which was just a thought.
Mayor Day?
Yes, thank you. We did provide, or are in the middle of providing the kinsman with a letter of support for the grant they are writing. And I do happen to know, because I've looked at other grants too for other things out in the community, and the one they're applying for is co-op community spaces. So
Yes.
whether or not they wanted to look at a second grant opportunity, I don't know, but maybe staff could, if, direct them to that too and let them know it's out there. I don't know, but that could be seen as double dipping as well. I'm not sure how that works at their granting level.
I guess if you get one and you don't get the other, whatever. Councillor McGonigal.
So given the background on this Healthy Communities Initiative, we have already applied for a Centennial Field grant,
Yes.
the full final phases of that. We've already committed some funds within capital this year towards washrooms, et cetera, at the duck pond. So it might be an appropriate time now to return to C under reports, have that brought forward by the superintendent, and then decide where we would like to go with the Canada Healthy Communities Initiative. Whether we think that that may pertain to that project or perhaps another one. I just thought it was important, given the public input, that we considered that first before the letter about the duck pond upgrade. So with your indulgence, I think by returning to that with the discussion that we've had on that initiative may be appropriate.
Okay, are we all in agreement to that? Okay, we'll go back to 7C, Superintendent, the Public Works and Engineering Services re Duck Pond Park upgrade. Mr. Sandu.
So on this, Dalton and I met with Steve White from Kinsman last week and went over the site and the proposed playground they want to do. Where they wanted to build it, they're going to have to move it a little bit because the town has some infrastructure there, a sewer line and fiber optics go through that area, so we can't allow them to build over top of that. But I did measure it. If they move it to the northeast some, it should fit in, and they can reconfigure the playground some. But they've also requested assistance from the town, financial assistance to do all the preparation for the playground. The grant amount is only for what they need to purchase the playground. And I did an estimate on it, and it's $45,000 to $50,000 that the town would have to contribute. It is a good project, but it's something you guys will have to decide on that. Again, it's a late request. The budget's just about done, so I think you guys will have to discuss that and see what you want to do with it.
Okay, Councillor McGonigal.
And that was going to be my point, was we're in the 11th hour, probably 11:30 in the budget process, and have brought forward capital projects for consideration this year. For us to perhaps consider dropping one of them that have already been vetted and discussed through staff, et cetera. I don't think it's fair to the projects that have been brought forward already. So I'm just concerned on how we can move forward. And given the grant application that we spoke of earlier, may be an avenue, but there may be some other options that we could consider as well. And I think I'll stop there for me.
Okay, Councillor Vomaka, you had your hand up.
Yes, I was going to ask, is there a time frame on their grant application to when this needs to be finished if they are successful with that grant? And if they're not successful, then I am assuming we can look at next year's budget process. But I know that they've worked tirelessly fundraising for years for that duck pond. And when you do look at what we do have for parks, we are quite limited in Lake Cowichan. So it would be nice to see that go ahead. And question would be, is the $45,000 to $50,000, could some of that be as an in-kind donation from the town? Mr. Fernandez.
Yeah, that would be the in-kind contribution.
Would, okay.
They're looking for the town to provide manpower and equipment time. So that is our contribution. Just as an aside, we had allocated $50,000 for the washroom upgrades. And so one way of looking at it is if council decides at some point that this may be a good project to go with, and should the grant application fail, we could still then use that money. We could then take that money and do the washroom upgrades. So we have, and do the up, if it's successful, then we can do the upgrades next year. That's another way of looking at it. I think, you know, it's a win-win for the town if you get this completed this year.
Yes. Councillor Sandu?
Well, as somebody who grew up around the duck pond my entire childhood, it would be amazing if we could get that help in that project to get it completed, because the Kinsmen have worked tirelessly fundraising. So just direction to staff, could we utilize the unexpected funds from the 2020 parks budget to do the needed prep work on the duck pond project?
Unused.
There's none really. You can't use funds from last year for this year. It's brand new, so you got to be looking at the project as the funding is coming from this year. You may get some of the surplus funds from last year, but
Well,
that
that's,
would be,
yeah.
That's what I
but
meant.
that would be very tight. This year's budget is fairly tight. So I'm not sure how you can do it, but I think the best way to deal with it is the way I suggested, is to look at the washroom upgrades money to be used for that, should the grant be successful. And that would, that way we're not out any funds.
Thank you.
Mayor Day?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So if that's the route we decide to go down, would the healthy, whatever this grant, other grant is called, Healthy Communities Initiative, I mean, would that be an avenue for the town to look at an application for the washroom? They'd be healthier than what we have. And it would be adding, you know, either way, the washroom will get done.
Yeah.
And then we could have, if everybody's successful, then we could have the best of both worlds.
Okay.
But I do like the suggestion of the CEO that, you know, pending their success with their grant, that we could reallocate the 50,000 for the washroom to that project, or to the in-kind portion of the playground. But that's only my opinion. Thank you.
Mr. Fernandez?
I've got another thought. We're looking at Stone Park upgrades, and I wondered if we should be looking at that as an avenue to make an application for. So we're talking $45,000 also, but it all depends on timing. You know, if you
Okay.
want to move that project sooner, that it depends when the grant will be announced.
Councillor Sandu?
Well, that's just what I was concerned about. If we had to hold off to even
Yeah.
start the project, then I
No.
don't want that, honestly. We
No.
need to get that done.
We have to look at the announcement date and stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Austin, Councillor McGonigal had his hand up.
Yes,
Sorry.
Councillor McGonigal. Sorry, I had to look at something. Thank you.
All good. It's tough herding feral cats sometimes. Just I'm looking for clarification through staff. I'm trying to go back in my cranium and dig up some information. It doesn't seem to want to come up. In the past, we set aside monies in a parks contingency on surpluses. I believe it was 10% of anything that was not expended. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think, if I may, I think we actually expended just about all of it last year, if not more. I'll take another look.
I'm just trying to think of another avenue aside from that grant application through the Canada Healthy Initiatives on how we could contribute our portion within the preparatory work of that, without taking away from the washroom, without taking away from the other projects that are already vetted through the process that we've gone through. And I'm just trying to accommodate somehow, whether it's reserves that and contingencies, that may be an option.
Okay, we'll come back with a solution for this.
Okay. For the next meeting or
Sooner than, maybe the next finance.
next finance? Okay.
But in the meantime, Madam Chair, I would like to direct staff to look at the Canada Initiatives grant application for projects that may fit within the realm of the guidelines of that. Whichever one they decide, if it is one within my area, I will be removing myself from that discussion. So just please give me a heads up if that's the one you're looking at. I don't want to be gauged as having any influence on that, but that may be the avenue for not only the in-kind portion, but doing the capital upgrade that is absolutely necessary in the duck pond. If we did the preliminary work while keeping that washroom there, we're not doing that project any justice at all.
True enough.
Right. Okay, good discussion. Anything else? Oh, Mayor Day?
Yes, just having looked at the Co-op Community Spaces grant through the Trailblazer Society, I do know that the deadline date for the application is March 1st. So I don't know if the kinsmen need clarification on anything in kind before they submit the application or not. So.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Anything else on that? Good discussion on that. Thank you very much. Now we'll go down to number 9, notices of motion. There's nothing on that. Public relations. I just want to remind everybody that the Variety Telethon is this weekend again for the Hearts Club Variety Telethon. I know I mentioned it last week, but if anybody's watching and are able to donate to that. And we now have a question period on a maximum of 3 minutes on items limited to the agenda. So we'll break till 7:34, and you can email those to general@lakecowichan.ca. I'm sick of that music already. Oh, Christie's. Okay, good enough. I don't even need that on. Oh, I've got one for Rosalie. Just waiting for Mr.
Caroline,
Yes.
sorry,
Yes.
I was too slow on the public relations items. And I know we have a meeting next Tuesday anyway, but just a note that Pink Shirt Day
Yeah.
is next Wednesday.
24th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
in case we have to buy our pink shirts.
Well, I don't get one every year. I've got 2 or 3, but I might buy. I like the ones this year. They actually say more on it, and I like them. And
I
they're
believe Country Grocer has them.
Country Grocer has lots. I need
Yeah.
a small one for Alf though. They don't make baby ones. Oh, dang it. I'll have to make one up. Yeah, February is a lot of things. It's Black History Month. It was President's Day yesterday, along with our Family Day. It's Ash Wednesday tomorrow. It was Shrove Tuesday today, which you're supposed to eat pancakes. I forgot. I'm too busy. So there's a lot going on.
It was also Be Nice to a Grump Day today.
Be nice to a
Be what?
grown-up or a grump.
Grump.
A grump.
Yeah.
I didn't find one yet, but I'm sure I could if I tried hard enough.
Now you're looking at one right here, so be
Oh.
nice.
Uh-oh. Okay. We'll see about that.
Oh, no, I'm a gramp, not a grump.
There
Sorry.
you go. Spell check.
Hey, Tim,
Yeah, I got mine. I was afraid to wear it in the liquor store, though. I thought that they might be scared of me, so I didn't.
the liquor store, what would you be doing in there?
Just saying hello to the people that I know in there, my rabbit people and stuff. I just go in and visit. Okay, he's back. Do we have any questions from the FB, Facebook?
Nothing at all, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess that is pretty well the end of our meeting. I just want to thank everybody for watching us virtually, those of you that have been. And I want to thank all the businesses and property owners and residents and the municipal staff. What would we do without them? They've worked through this whole time of COVID, which it's 11 or 12 months now. It's been a long time. And all the efforts that are put in to make our community a better place to live. And we appreciate everybody. And I'm hoping the residents appreciate them too. And thank you, everybody, and good night. And now I would like an adjournment of the Parks meeting. Councillor Womaka, Councillor McGonigal, all in favor. Thank you to our superintendent for great reports and our manager of the CLEC and Lakeview as well. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.
Too.
Good night.